Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Balaba Girivanadari Gopijana Balaba Girivanadari Jasodanandana Brajanaranjana Jasodanandana Brajanaranjana Jamuntiravanachari Jamuna Tiravanachari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Balaba Girivanadari Jasodanandana Brajanaranjana Jamuna Tiravanachari Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Boom. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Boom. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hari. Boom! Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Boom! Jai Radha Madhava Kunda Bihari. Jai Radha Madhava Kunda Bihari. Jai Radha Madhava Kunda Bihari. Jai Vishnupada Paramahansa Pariba Jakacharya Asatad Jashisha and His Divine Grace Avaicharan Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Ki. ISKCON BBT founder Acharya Jagaguru Srila Prabhupada Ki. Ananta Koda Vaishya Vrinda Ki. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki. Prem Shri Gaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadada Shivasadi Gaur Bhakti Vrinda Ki. Shri Shri Radhakrishna Gopinath Shamakunda Radhakunda Giri Govardhan Ki. Vrindavan Dham Ki. Mathura Dham Ki, Dwarka Dham Ki, Navadip Dham Ki, Jamuna Mai Ki, Ganga Mai Ki, Tulsi Maharani Ki, Bhakti Devi Ki, Sambheda Bhakta Vinda Ki, Srila Prabhupada Ki, Sisi Radha Girirari Ki, Shri Krishna Sankirtana Jaga Ki, Gopremanandi. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the lotus feet of Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Krishna Swadamo Bhagate Dhammagana Dibi Saha Kalanasa Dashumesha Parano Konado Data Nastapraye Savadeshu Nityam Bhagavate Sevaya Bhagavate Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki Krishna Svada. Did we say that? I think we did. All right. We are on, before beginning our study of the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is a very means of conquest, we should first offer our respects to the personality of Godhead, Narayan, the Narayan Rishi, the supremmost human being, the goddess of living Mother Saraswati, the Yata Srila Vyasadeva, and my spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada. So we are on the 7th canto, chapter 15. It's the end of the canto, and text 73, right? Okay. Now I should look at it myself, shouldn't I? Hey, by the way, If anyone sees my glasses, let me know. These are a backup set that are a little out of focus. Tavat dasyam aham jagye tatrapi brahma vadinam sushushayanu sangena prapto ham brahma putratam. That's actually not right. Putratam tavadasyamaham jagye tatrapi brahmavandinam sushrushayanu praptoham brahmaputratam tavadasyamaham jagye tatrapi brahmavandinam sushrusayanu praptoham brahmaputratam tavadasyamaham jagye tatrapi brahmavandinam sushusananu sangena praptoham brahmaputratam tavadasyamaham sanghe tatrapi brahmavadinam sushrusayanu sangena praptoham brahmaputratam tavadasyamaham jagye tatrapi brahmavadinam sushursayanu sangena praptoham brahmaputratam tavadasyamaham jagye tatrapi brahmavadinam sushrusayanu sangena praptoham brahmaputratam. Mataji? Tavadasyamaham jagye tatrapi brahmavadinam sushursayanu sangena praptoham brahmaputratam tavat. Since being cursed, dasyam, in the womb of a maidservant, aham, I, jagye, took birth, tatrapi, although being a Sudra, brahmavadinam, unto persons well conversant with Vedic knowledge. Sushrusaya, by rendering service. Anusangena, simultaneously. Prapta, obtained. Aham, I. Brahmaputratam, a birth as the son of Lord Brahma in this life. Translation. Although I took birth as a Sudra from the womb of a maidservant, I engaged in the service of Vaishnavas who were well versed in Vedic knowledge. Consequently, in this life, I got the opportunity to take birth as the son of Lord Brahma. Okay, I say, you say, although I took birth as a Sudra from the womb of a maidservant, I engaged in the service of Vaishnavas who were well versed in Vedic knowledge. Consequently, in this life, I got the opportunity to take birth as the son of Lord Brahma. Is this fresh water? Thank you very much. Prabhupada's purport. The Supreme Personality of Godhead says in Bhagavad Gita 9:32, Mam hi partha vyapashritya yepi su papayonaya striyo vaishas tata sudras tepi yanti param gatim. O son of Pritha, those who take shelter in me, though they be of low birth, women, Vaishyas, merchants, as well as Sudras, workers, can approach the supreme destination. Back to the purport. It doesn't matter whether a person is born as a Sudra, a woman, or a Vaishya. If he associates with devotees repeatedly or always, sadhu sangena, he can be elevated to the highest perfection. Narada Muni is explaining this in relation to his own life. The Sankirtan movement is important, for regardless of whether one is a Sudra, Vaishya, Malecha, Yavana, or whatever, if one associates with a pure devotee, follows his instructions, and serves the pure devotee, his life is successful. This is Bhakti. Anukulyena Krishna Silanam. Bhakti consists of serving Krishna and his devotees very favorably. Anabhilasita sunyam. Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1:1-11. If one has no desire other than to serve Krishna and his devotee, then his life is successful. This is explained by Narada Muni through this practical example from his own life. Omagena temarandasya gyanagena salakaya jakshushan militangena tasarishi gurave namaha. I thought I would just mention a little bit from yesterday first, yesterday's class and Prabhupada's purport. Prabhupada said this is not a new movement. When we first started in America, I remember doing traveling Sankirtan in the South. They called it the Buckle of the Bible Belt, which was Tennessee, Alabama, those kind of places. And I remember walking in to a grocery store, small grocery store in the South. They used to have them. They used to have a lot of small stores in those days. So I remember walking in and I was looking, cauliflower was too foreign vegetable for them, you didn't see. So I was looking for potatoes and cabbage and getting a little milk, whatever, to cook prasad for the traveling Sankirtan party, the devotees. And you ever get that kind of odd feeling that people are staring at you? I was dressed in a dhoti and sikh and tilak. So I looked up and everyone in the grocery store was staring at me stunned. Just like, they were thinking, and where's the mothership? And are there more of them? They thought they'd been invaded by aliens from outer space. We were completely foreign. And I remember being arrested for book distribution in Chattanooga, Tennessee. We were thrown in jail. And one of the other Billy Bob, or whatever his name was, Ray, or, told me, you fall asleep, I'm cutting that thing off. He's talking about my Sika. I stayed up all night long. Anyway, it's a whole story. So, and we went before the judge. And the prosecutor, we're out in the middle of nowhere. I don't know what it was. It was, well, it wasn't in the middle of nowhere. It was some country town, the Mississippi Bulldogs or the Arizona Razorbacks, whatever they were, and the football team. And the judge was actually quite a courtly Southern gentleman. And he said, "Son, what are you all doing?" And I explained that we're spreading love of God, the essential need of humankind. And the prosecutor said, "Yeah, and this is their God," and gave him a Back to Godhead magazine that had a picture of Radha and Krishna on it. And he pointed the picture of Radharani and said, "And this is their she-god." So I thought, oh, geez, we're going to be on a chain gang, in Alabama for the rest of my life, And I said, no, this is a timeless tradition. Monks and saints and kings have been following this. It is the essence of spiritual life, religious life, and it's what America's used to be and is now missing. And I said, and it's based on solid philosophy. I handed him a Bhagavad Gita, a little hesitantly, because I remember this prosecutors pointing to Radharani and saying, "Yeah, they say they worship God, and this is their she-god." And he said, "Oh, Bhagavad Gita." He said, "I read Bhagavad Gita in college," which was quite a surprise. And then he turned to the prosecutor. I swear to you, he turned to the prosecutor and chastised him. He said, "We've got public drunkenness, and we've got pilfering and theft, and this and that, and peeping Toms, and you're bringing in these boys." He said, "Wasting the taxpayers' money. You should be ashamed of yourself." Just, read him the riot act and said, "Now you take them, but where did you pick them up?" And I said, "Our car out in the parking lot, out in the, and he said, "You take them back, and you take them back to their car. They can do what they're doing anywhere they want, and you apologize." And then I couldn't believe it. And then the best part is, because we were frugal in those days, I reached to take the Gita back, and the judge put his hand on it and said, "Mind if I keep that, son?" So he kept the Bhagavad Gita. I didn't ask him for a donation. I let that one go. But so this is a timeless tradition that monks and kings and profound music and art and architecture, there are poetry, so many things. The Ramayana, or Ramayan, depending where you're coming from, is the longest epic poem in the world. Forget the Iliad and the Odyssey. The Ramayana and the Bhagavatam was 18,000 verses. So it's not something new or created or concocted. Okay, so there's that. And it has come a long way, even in America. Now you go out like this, and most people are respectful. They think, "Oh, he's a monk." And you tell them karma and reincarnation and vegetarian and nonviolence and mantra and meditation. Yeah, most people, certainly on the coasts, they immediately snap into it and they know what you're talking about. I'm sure that even in Omaha or Lincoln, Nebraska, they're teaching yoga and they know mantras. So as it's come a long way, it shows you, and it's been a relatively short time. Cultures can take generations to change, and it's been 50 years, or whatever it is. That's very quick for the culture to change. Prabhupada said the time will come that the city fathers will put a marker. You know how they have those markers, you know, Lincoln slept here, you know, whatever it may be. There's one right down here when you turn off Grand onto the freeway. Yeah, there was some, I don't know what, I've forgotten what it was, but something historical happened here. There was some conference or something, and whatever. Here in PB, of all places. You can check it out. They got a big rock and a bronze plaque on it, you know. So Prabhupada said someday in these different cities, the city fathers will put up a marker. On this day, the Sankirtan party of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu first visited our city. It will be seen, and Prabhupada said, will be seen as the Red Cross. So it's not old, it's not concocted. Another thing I was thinking was about demigod kirtans, because Balaram asked the question, and who gave the great answer? That Mahabharata gave the nice answer that only Krishna kirtan invokes the natural ecstasy of the jiva. The rest of them all want something. They're all asking for, give me this, give me that. Well, we'll see how well that works. So the Bhakti Vikas Maharaj, what he does, you know, instead of, there is the argument, and it has its legitimacy, that you create a wide funnel and then you bring people to the point of bhakti. And then the wider the funnel, the more people you bring in, and eventually they come to the right conclusion. You can bring them to the, if they don't walk in the door, you can't bring them to the right conclusion. Well, there's legitimacy in that. Now, Bhakti Vikas Maharaj, who is not one to, what is the word? He gets right to the point. So he told me right off the bat, especially if he's at a home program for the Indian folks, right off the bat, he just starts off that, what is it, Vivekananda and Ramakrishna are bogus, and Sai Baba is just a cheap magician, and Gandhi amongst politicians, he's a saint, but amongst saints, he's a politician. He just goes right at it. And he says, I filter them out right off the bat, you know. I'm not waiting to, you know, sugarcoat it, you know. I just clear them out, and whoever, since, you know, the few that are left, what is it? No, I'm thinking Bahunam Janmanamante, you know. Only a few of, you know. So he just weeds them out right off the bat. And I remember Sariputta, it was downtown San Diego. He was speaking at a UFO convention. The hall was packed. And there were different, you know, subcategories, people talking about flying saucers, people talking about psychic travel, and, you know, different. And Sariputta was, you know, got in there as one of the speakers. And when we first started to speak, he had, I don't know, 200 people, 175, 200 people in the audience. And now a curious feature, and if you've ever spoken in an arena like that, quite often, or on a stage, quite often there's the footlights or whatever, and you can't actually see the audience. It's just you're speaking to the dark, you know? So they had chairs, those that had a spring on them, you know? And many of these chairs, when you got up to leave, the chair made a snap sound. Sounded like popcorn going off. So Sariputta, he was speaking about, you know, different types of Vimanas is what they're called, different types of Vimanas and from the Vedas, and you could, the place was rapt attention. And every time he tried to bring them about what is the cause of the universe, or what is the highest planetary, so you'd hear snap, 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 they'd be leaving, And then he'd go back to a little bit of, far out New Age, Vedic astronomy and astrology, and they'd be rapt attention. Then, because what's the point? You're trying to bring him to devotional service. Every time he'd mentioned the Supreme Lord or the soul, snap, 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 the chairs would start going up. And, Sariputta, saintly person that he is, after a while he figured, because I was there, after a while I could see what he was thinking. He thought, well, what's the use of all this? And he just went into a straight Bhagavad Gita class. And it was snap, 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 snap. And when the lights finally came back on, there were like literally 3 or 4 people left in the hall. Because there were other presentations, they all got up and went somewhere else. And those people were very nice. Bought Bhagavad Gitas and books and took home Japamala, and, So there's an argument of how you need to create the big funnel. And there's an argument to just give them the sauce and get right to the point, And an expert preacher knows time, place, and circumstance. So that's a little something from. But the point is there that, as Balaram brought up by his good question and Mahabharata answered, that only the holy name of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, only Hari Nam, actually purifies the heart. It's the only thing that goes in there and weeds out all the anarthas. The other ones blow on the boiler or fulfill your material desire. And only the holy name gives that. What does Narada Muni say? That even if someone goes away from devotional service, they're never the same. Someone says Hare Krishna, what to speak of on New Year's Eve, they chant and dance with the devotees, mostly because they're well lubricated by, liquid, what do they call it? Libation. They're drunk as a skunk, pickled to the gills. So therefore, they're dancing. But they will never be the same. Because Narada Muni says, again and again, they remember in the core of their heart the taste of devotional service. They remember that it's subliminally, subconsciously, they remember that, geez, I felt some freedom, I weighed 350 pounds, I'm a land whale, but I felt some freedom. I could put my hands up and I danced with the brahmacharis. Wow, that was like nothing else I've ever experienced. And anyway, I don't want to spend too much time on this, but only the holy name purifies the anarthas in the heart, and only the holy name give that. Even Lord Shiva can't give liberation. So that was a little something I was thinking about. Now, the end of this section is called, this chapter, and this is the end at the end of this chapter, and leading into the next. So why? This chapter is talking about, what is it? Instructions for civilized human beings. Okay, and there's been so many. There's, what is it for householders, for brahmacharis, for sannyasis, and there's been so many different. How to meditate on the yogic process of folding this into that, and then that's amalgamated into this, and ultimately you're left just with the soul. How to do that by yogic meditation. There was a whole section on Sankhya Yoga. Not this. Well, this depends on this. Okay. Oh, well, that depends on this. Oh, well, that was caused by this. What is it? I'm trying to think of Sanskrit. but looking for the cause of neti, Prabhupada calls it. But this was, what's the original source? So many different processes are there. Just like in the Gita, there's karma yoga and jnana yoga and so many different things. Yes, jnana yoga, there's so many things. Whoops. But ultimately, sarva dharma, and just manmana bhava madbhakto madhyaji mam, just become my devotee, worship me, So similarly, the actual essence, the core, a good teacher can get down to the essence of the thing. I mean, you listen to Prabhupada's classes, which I'm sure you do. Prabhupada he can explain I was listening to Prabhupada talking this morning to a Sanskrit professor in Mexico City. And the guy asks, in a roundabout, takes him forever to get to it. And he finally asks, why is everything? Why is anything? Why is there anything? And he thinks that, he's got to stump the Swami question, why is there anything? And he's quite proud of himself. You can hear by his voice. And Prabhupada, he's trying, finally Prabhupada says, that is not the right question. He said, first you need to ask, where is everything from? What is the cause? If you understand the cause, then you can understand the purpose. If you don't understand everything was created from Krishna. Therefore, what's the conclusion? Everything should be used in Krishna's service. So why does everything exist? It exists to be used in the service of Krishna. Then you can understand, what? So, in this way, Prabhupada cuts right to the, and the guy's stumped. You hear there's a law, he thought, he's a big Sanskrit professor and teaches philosophy, and he's got the essence of all, here it all is. Why is there anything? Prabhupada says, what is the use of the question is, where is everything? From where is everything? Then you can understand how to use everything. Why is everything? So it's fantastic. So a good teacher can get to the core of the thing. And here is Narada Muni, after offering all the other explanations, answering all the other questions, he says, here's the bottom line, here's the essence, here's the perfection of Dharma. Absorb yourself in the holy name, because only the holy name will give you the genuine happiness, lasting, eternal. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu points out, ever increasing. Not, what is it? There's a saturation point. How many scoops of ice cream can it be, even though it's your favorite flavor? How many scoops can you eat? How much sex? You burn out, you get bored, you're done. Or you're impotent, If Prabhupada points out about Ramakrishna. Yeah. So, this is, and Narada Muni is concluding with the essence of all, and it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what you are, where you came from, what baggage you're carrying. And what does Narada Muni, just to prove his point, that only the holy name, let me say this, well, it's the same thing either way. Only the holy name completely purifies, and only the holy name can give liberation. And when we say liberation, we're not talking about impersonal liberation. We're talking about pure Krishna prema, as it describes here in the purport. Prabhupada quotes those verses. So what does he offer is confirming proof. What does Narada Muni now begin to explain. What is he explaining to us now? What's he doing? Okay, no, but he's giving a practical example. Other than Dravida. What's the practical example Narada Muni is now unfolding? Yeah, he's saying, look at me. I was an arrogant, puffed up demigod, you know, a Gandharva, and I was cursed by the Prajapatis. I was in a rough spot. I was born as the son of a Sudrani, and simply by serving the Vaishnavas and chanting the holy name, wham! I'm born as the son of Brahma, a liberated soul. Just see the power of the holy name. He's giving a concrete, practical example. And then, as Prabhupada points out in the purport, anybody, and Narada says in the verse, anybody, you can do it too. I remember Rabindra Swarup saying about Prabhupada, he used to read, and I remember reading, you know, autobiography of a yoga and secret teachings of the Rosicrucians and all, you know, Christian mystics, mother, sister, what is her name? Teresa, Saint Teresa, who used to levitate and saw the stigmata, you know, so many things. But, you know, you try to figure the whole thing out. And now, what was I going to say? Thank you very much. So Rabindra Swarup said, you know, he used to read these texts, you know, Tibetan Book of the Dead, or, you know, what's the sound of one hand clapping, you know, Buddhist this. Of course, here is the sound of one hand clapping. It's nothing. So what to do? So Rabindra said, then here was Prabhupada, obviously on the highest level of spiritual consciousness, relishing deep spiritual ecstasy. And not only was here a practical example, just like Narada Muni, here's a practical example, but Prabhupada was saying, and you can too, by the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, by the mercy of Lord Nityananda. Here it is. Just get on board the bus. You can, doesn't matter what you are. You just take up the holy name. And what's the other essential point of Narada Muni's cause? Because the two are, if you're doing one, the other will automatically follow. What does Narada Muni, from his own practical example, other than Dravida, as one of the keys, essential, profoundly powerful elements for advancing in spiritual life and becoming purified? What is it? Rendering service to the Vaishnavas. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur used to instruct his devotees and people who are sincere Vaishnavas that you try to serve at least 10 Vaishnavas a day. Little thing. Get them a cushion. I mean, you can do a big thing, great. But just have that mentality of trying to... His sannyasis all served prasadam. When there was a feast, they served prasadam. That was their, you know... I mean, if you've got disciples and a bunch of people to talk to, fine, take prasadam first. But the default mode is they were servants. So, servants to the Vaishnavas in the holy name. Okay, there was one other thing I wanted to say. I have from the... Well, we'll say this some other time. But the Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, I have Banu Maharaj's translation of the Bhagavatam with commentary by Vishwanath. It's great. They're shorter, and it's not as detailed as Srila Prabhupada, but great, obviously, you know, insights. So what does Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur pull out of this verse? He says, just see the potency of devotional service. That the humble devotional service, that as the son of a maidservant, the Narada in his birth is the son of a Sudrani. That simple, humble service of the Vaishnavas went with him to his next life. So anything you do in the service of Krishna goes with you. It's a generational boon. It's not, you can be Einstein, and in your next life, you're sitting in class as a little kid. If Billy has 5 apples and Sally takes 2, how many apples are left? And he's scratching his head and counting on his toes and fingers. He's, back at ground square one. But anything you do in devotional service, it's to your eternal benefit. So he's making the point of how powerful devotional service is and how it's generational. It's carried lifetime after lifetime after lifetime. Nothing else is like that. So the holy name, service to the Vaishnavas, purifies the heart and gives the taste of the greatest, genuine, real, only real ecstasy. So we can end there. Anyone have a quick question? If not, we can dive into Prasadam. No, he's already leaving. He's going to see what's there. I'm joking. All right, Prabhu, thank you very much. Hare Krishna.